The stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. It was amazing workshop yesterday. See some faces from yesterday here. We are really happy to be here, and I think what the community is doing here is great in Torino. So I think you're doing really well. I'm really envious. I'm from Barcelona. We don't have this kind of things, so it's great that you do it. So first, you can follow us. I'm from Mucho, now a social network. Today, I have the pleasure to be with Pancho Tolczynski. You can follow him here. He's expert in cognitive science, and we are reading Mucho about thinking how this works together, because it has a lot to do. But I will begin talking to a theme, which is this one. How can we create something different? I think we are all obsessed with this theme. And we are trying hard to do it. So I will try to unlock something on you that perhaps helps you. So I will try to explain you how we do it in Mucho. So basically what we do as designers, we love all the same books. We love the same sneakers. We play the same games in our mobile phones and love the same games. We love the same bikes. We love the same bags. We love the same furniture. We listen to the same music. We love the same movies. We love the same series, and we watch them. We have the same phone. We have the same apps. We have the same computers. And all the briefings say the same. So how can we create something different if we all do the same things? It's just impossible, right? So we really struggle with this thing. So Pancho will help you to unlock this. Here we go.
Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is show you that seeing is something that we do. It's not something that happens to you. So if you look at this picture, you probably see a nice forest of triangles, and you cannot see beyond that because you lack a concept that can unlock it to see something different. So what is happening is that from what we see, 90% comes from within, and only 10% come from outside. So whatever is in our heads, in our brain, is what making what we see. It's not what's out there. So it's really about how can we fit what's in here to see the world in many different ways. So what I will do now is plug something in your brain so that you see this image in a completely different way, okay? In a way that something reveals. Ready? Are you sure? Enjoy the freedom of being able to navigate this triangle in many ways. You will lose that freedom. Okay, now I plugged something in your brain, and this sloth, this is the animal is clinging on the tree, is in your brain. So you can still navigate in the forest, but the sloth is screaming there, I'm here. So I plugged something in your head, and this is a concept that makes you see the world in a different way. Okay? So what's in our brain changes what we see. It's not only what we see changes what's in our head, it's also what in our head that changes what we see. So we see the concept we have recruited along the way. So if we have the same concepts, we will see the same things. And this is an example of how you can see things that are not really there because we are creating them, okay? So can you read this? Yeah, possibly. And what about this? So whatever is your experience will determine what you will see later. And unless you engage with the world, you're probably missing a few things. Okay? So it's your expectation about what you're going to see what determines what you're going to see. So how to create something different if what we see is only 10% and the rest is in our brain? So basically, it's looking attentive to the world and making sure that that 10% changes our perceptions. So I gather all of you see this as different tables. Do you? If we sit there and do not get into the table, the scenario, and touch it and play with it, we probably go home thinking they're the same table. Okay, we played around, and now we see that they're the same shape. If you don't play with things, you get a different impression than what they are. So we have to really play with things, contemplate them, and pay attention. If you pay attention, these 10% shift completely what's in your head, and you see the world in a different way. It's not that you see the same thing and analyze it different. You see a different thing. So this 90%, which is great because it allows you to see things, it also makes you see things in a very predictable way. So you have to ask why. Always ask why. And this is basically what they're doing at Mucho, and this is what I'm doing with them. It's to find a way in which to go beyond those 90%. Use them to imagine the world, because through these 90%, it's the possibility to see things that are not there, which is imagination. But at the same time, you need the 10% to make sure that the imagination goes further than what's in your assumptions.
So, but we have to be careful with that. We cannot be super creative, so nobody will get us. So that's what Bowie says. You can be 15 minutes in front of your time, but if you're on 60, nobody will get you. So, and the other thing is you need a structure to do this. If not, you need a system. And this is the system we work with, and it's really important to do this. But I will take all this theory now to the graphic design world, so you will see how it works, and give you some examples. So I will be really fast. Normally I give this conference in 45 minutes. Now I have 30 minutes. So we have to do the icon for the 400 death of Cervantes. Cervantes wrote the Quixote. So all the images that come to you are the Quixote. But you have to really look into this image. There is something there that nobody has seen until now that we saw. And this is what we said before, we have to really look at things. This is the solution, okay? It always has been there. We have to unlock it, okay? We have to watch carefully what is there, what can be interesting. So these are the application. It works really fine. And everybody gets it because it's an image that has been there, but we isolate it from the rest. So this is another example. This is a festival they do in Girona that's called Milestone. So a milestone comes to your head. This is the first image you have. So how can I get away from there? And basically, it's a festival where they paint just like old buildings and put art into it. How can we express that? Okay, it seems you have to look the letters as shapes. So it seems that it always has been there, but you have to unlock it, okay? Really carefully. If you are able to do that and think in a different way, you can see graphic design as a different way. You can come up with things that were not there. Or were there, but nobody has seen it before. One idea every week. This is another example. This is an example from Laurent. We have offices in Paris, as I told you, New York, San Francisco, and Sydney now. So he has to do a cover every week, and he has really few time for that normally. So this is for a dancer, about the ocean, about a young, hot actress, when Bowie died, another actress, all the problem of the immigrants, that nobody listens to them. That was on the previous elections of Trump, and it's like they're running to nothing, and that is what really is happening. Music festivals, a famous actor, about climate change. So you have to think really quickly. But this will lead us to another thing. He was asked to do, after all the movement of the Me Too, to do a cover about female sexuality, which is a theme which is really complicated, because this magazine is sold like 600,000 copies every week. It's on the tables, and it's a family thing. So you have to be in a kind of elegant, but at the same time show it really. So the first thing is, let's talk about an exclamation mark. This is something really important to do, to talk about it. And then he came up with this idea. It seemed it was a big success. It was picked up by a lot of blogs. And in one of these blogs, they told him, but this is really similar to von Sigmund's poster in 2012. Isn't it a copy? And the thing of the copy is really a struggle we have, right? And then further on, in Time Out in 2050, there was this cover, and all the people said, you copied this thing. And I have to say, Laurent really copied, but he didn't copy this. He did exhibition 2009, which was this one. And if you look at it, this was these cards, and it was a typographic foundation in London, and they had to do postcards with typography related to sex. And he did that in 2009 already. Okay? And it was like card cards that were put on the TV and the telephone cabins. And here's Laurent ones from 2009. So, but the interesting point, this is then a student did, this is quite similar perhaps, is that if we are in the same context, obviously we will come up with same ideas or quite easy ones. So I would get rid of that thing of copying or things. It's a normal thing. We came up with new ideas, and we think it's new, but another guy in the other side of the world will have the same idea. So that's not a problem. We don't have to care about it too much. But it's always nice if somebody copies you or get inspired by you, tell it how it is. We don't really worry about it. Is that they tag you in a way. And this happens to Laurent. So now if you go to Laurent's Doskov and put it in Google, this will appear. So this is a little bit freaky. This is a porn site. So this is not so good. But okay, this can also happen. But let's change it. Let's go back to the rethinking of things. So we had to do Tele Madrid, and it was a pitch. We were 12 companies involved in this pitch. And we were pretty sure to win it. And it's always the same thing. It's about the idea. The only briefing was there had to be a star. There had to be a star because there was a star. This was the logo they had before. There was a star. They wanted an evolution, but the star had to remain. Why the star to remain? Because the flag of the Madrid community is this one, and it has a star. For us, this was a little bit a struggle. Because what's the meaning of a star? This is also a star. It's a completely different meaning. And even here, the independents of Catalonia have a star, which is the opposite what is Madrid nowadays. So what's really the meaning of a star? So we had to come up with an idea of what's really the meaning of the star and change the meaning of the star. So this is what we did, basically.
Hola.
And this is why we won.
Hola.
Hola. Hola. Un saludo.
So this is a public TV. The star are the people. So we shifted the meaning of the star, and the star should be the people. So we went out with a camera and took images of the people, and they would be on the TV, because it's their TV. So we did a shift of the meaning of the star, and that's why we won. So basically, we changed all the architecture. We gave to each one a different star. There is always a star, but it's graphically different. We changed that horrible type, which I'm really happy. And we also added movement and sound. The sound is based on the music on the streets of Madrid, of the organs they play on the streets. And we shifted the color. Now we always will have the color in the background and the nice graphic elements in white. And we created a system that they didn't have. So the system now is a star that expands, and this is the system. So we add also movement to it and zoom. That's it. It's super simple. And this gives us a super great system for everything, which is flexible. So it's completely different and perceived in a different way. And we can play around with the graphics. You can do different elements with this line, signage, everything. Okay, next one. What means being safe? So this is a B2B company, and what they do basically is to ensure big companies, so big infrastructures. So if you look, and they save them from the hackers, so first image we have from the hackers is this one: the Russians are coming, getting everything down, so be careful. So what is the symbols we have it? We have shields, things from the past, which are really just like bring us to the past, and it's just like, you have to be safe. So what do we have to do here? Is really a shield safe today? There's a shield. Somebody, do the shields around? Does this make sense? But everybody has a shield, the client says. So what is really to be protected? This is the question you have to ask yourself. Why? And where are you more protected? And this is then really, you have to project that to yourself and to humanity. And we came up with this.
Order or chaos, peace or war, light against darkness, calmness to face panic, confidence to face fear. It's one or the other. Pick your side. Fight commotion with training. Fight aggression with method. Face shock with poise. You aren't fazed by alarms. You think before you act. You're ready. There's no surprises. Always on, never off. Under threat, defend. Under attack, be resilient. Security is a mindset you conquer. Order or chaos. Trust or fear. There are only two sides, in or out. Oilo, trust engineering.
So, does it remind you of something? When somebody is pregnant? It's exactly that. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's a really human metaphor. Okay, there you are really safe. Nobody can touch you. And basically this is a circle, and this is how we did it in the applications. And we also have a web page which is interactive, where when you go with the mouse, something will happen. And just like we'll put resistance to go get in. So you can play with interaction in all the levels. So what the fuck is Bobo? This is a company two graphic designers just did 7 years ago in Barcelona, and it's grown huge. It's like they sell a lot of things. It's like they do 28 million of euros every year. And basically, there are two graphic designers who begin this, and so they have a team of 15 graphic designers who are really, really good and talented. So what they needed is to have a story behind. They didn't have nothing to explain what the brand is. Basically, they had a name with what's this. In the beginning, they said, okay, Bobo is for bourgeois bohème, and chose us because we will not do only clothing in the future. So reality, what we told them is just like, call you Bobo, because everybody's calling you Bobo. Chose us has nothing to do. But you know what Bobo means in Spanish? It's like stupid. So it was not the best word. So we thought, but perhaps we can shift it. If we can shift the meaning of that word, Bobo. So this is really the amazing thing. So you have to really look for things. And what I do sometimes is I said, okay, so I put on Google and put Bobo animal and see what happens. Bobo animal, and this thing happened. I said, wow, this is great. This is really fun. I think my daughter will love this animal. It's just like, it looks even stupid. That's because it's called Bobo, and it's a Cuban bird. So basically, I investigated a bit about this fellow, and it seems that it's not so stupid, this bird. It seems that it can just like dive 20 meters, and it's an amazing animal. And in the water, it's an amazing animal, and outside, it's a little bit stupid. So I thought, okay, this is something really funny. So is this really an error of nature, or is it not an error? So what I'm really worried is and I think as graphic designers, we can change society in a way. We can be able of that. We are not only graphic designers, we can also be thinkers. So basically, the first concept is the error, because nothing is an error. Everything is learning. Through errors, we learn, really. And normally in school, if you do an error, it's just like, I cannot do that. You have to try things out. If not, really creative people know that. But normally in school, it's all the way around, so we have to change there. So error is the door to discovery. A lot of discoveries of humanity came with errors. We know that. So why don't we try out more things? And the next one is there's no freedom without the freedom of making mistakes. We need to have this freedom of making mistakes. So this is really an important thing. So we came up with that. And the second one, which is even deeper, and diving deeper, and it came up with the idea of the bird, was the duality. So we all have this duality inside of us. So we went to Jung, who says basically that if you don't accept your duality and your contradictions, and you say you are only one way, in the future, the world will put you the other side and face it to you, and you will see you are not only one way. We are seeing this now with Brexit, with Trump. We see it everywhere. And this kind of people always say, it's only one side. So this is nothing good for our world. So we have to explain our kids that we have this duality inside ourselves, and we have to accept it. And if we do it from kid, perhaps in the next generation, it's a better generation than we have. So we are able to do this. So I'm not the first one who thinks about this. If you have seen the films of Miyazaki, it's always girls who are empowering. He empowers girls, and they understand this duality. And his work always, on the stories, go around this. So we thought, okay, why don't we do a brand about this? So how do we translate this idea to graphics? That's always the complicated part, but it's also the fun part. So we had to turn things around. So this is basically a logo, and here's a reflection. So it's a logo that can reflect. But you can also make a logo which is free on one part. So it's creative. So we give a tool to the designers to create freely, which is what they have to do, and make an error, which is good, and it's fun. And then something happened that is also like, you don't think about it, but if you turn this thing around, it looks like a bird. So if you try things, things happen. So you have to try things and get a little bit crazy. So then if you translate it to the applications, it works perfectly. We write the book about the Bobo bird. We did the Bobo bird and make them interact with the things. So it's fun. We also went how to translate this into photography, because they will need a lot of photography. So we came up with an idea, we can paint over the photographies, what kids normally do. If you have kids, they will do that, and it's fun. It's an error, but we like that error. This one, which is mainly typical from the 70s and the 80s. So all happened to that with the last pictures that have an error. All of the third one with a finger. So this is a typical error. You say, oh, fuck, but it's nice in a way, no? Why don't we do that? So we give them really ideas. And this is the winter collection they did. So you can see here the Bobo bird in a way. And now what they do is really great. The collection of this year is called, and they do it. It's just like we gave it over, and they are doing this, which is great. They did a band, which I call the Happy Sets. And they are doing this kind of things. There's a contradiction. So they really are engaged with these ideas. And they did a band, which is amazing. And you will see how the error and the duality is all the way in this video. There's the arrow, you see? Okay, you get it. I think I have 3 minutes. So I will be really quick. We want a building that's similar as a building. So this is a house of Gaudi in Barcelona. So what you do normally is everybody takes the shape of the building, but we went to the detail. So you have to really look at it. And if you look at this detail, there's the V. And really like that part, and the client also did. So this gives us a great system where you can use it. So we can use a house, but in the merchandising, not in the symbol. Because in the symbol, it's much easier to have just the V. And what makes this house different, which are the colors. So we did the interior design, everything. So next one, super quick. Who changed the classical music? You know who this guy is? This is Schubert. He changed everything. He was the first guy who changed music and made just like short pieces. And he played this music with the friends. And they were all into, in that time, modern, this kind of painting, which they really loved in that point. It was the first time that people can have paintings and were able to buy them. So they were really into nature. So this festival where we did the image for is in Costa Brava. So basically what we did is the same thing, but in a modern way, because Schubert had this modern mentality of changing music. And the next thing we did is just like his view of the music. So this has his glasses, so we tried to have the same view as Schubert had. So we basically did leaflets and everything on the image that has exactly the same view as he had. And I was able to do a leaflet without a title, so we go to the concert, so you need it, you really don't need it. And every concert will have a color. And then there's a postcard you can send your friends and invite them for the next year to the concerts. And this is the end result. I think I have 1 minute left. So there's another case. There's a hotel in Barcelona, and they wanted a logo. What happens normally, you have an ugly logo like this in hotels. So we said, we don't need a logo, we need an attitude, because this is a hotel where a lot of people work together. So there were 8 people in Barcelona doing the hotel together. One was making the chairs, the other one was doing the graphic identity. So we took the same idea. So everybody combines, the hotel is a combining of different people. So that's what we did in the graphics. We just mix things that normally don't get together. And basically, there is no logo. It's just a typeface. It's a fun way to communicate this. So always change the way of thinking to the client, so he is surprised. That is more natural. We'll go, this is the last one, I think. So this was a natural wine we had to do. And basically what we did is, what Pancho said this 10% before. We went to the place, We see the grapes, and what we notice is really where the grapes come from is just a small, small area. So we did the same in the label. So you can see the different highs. So this is basically where the Bastard Negra comes from. So we skipped even the name of the wine. It's only the wine, the name of the grape, and from where it comes from. We had to just stick the labels one on the other, because you only can do this manually. But it was only 2,500 bottles, so we were able to do this. Okay, I will skip this, no time for this. It's some beautiful posters for a bank, super crazy. And this one, it's super simple. It's just change how we think. All the credit cards are like this. Nowadays we pay with a phone or with a credit card. So the only thing was twisting them 90 degrees. This is Venmo on the card in America. And I have the feeling all the cards should be like that nowadays. But why are the banks still doing the old one, the old style? Because nobody uses it in this way anymore. So this should be like that, no? So super simple. But nobody is able to change that image we had in our brains. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Mucho. I want to do an experiment. Can you please all clap your hands? Can you do it in a synchronized way? Synchronized? Can you do it? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Who synchronized the clapping? Were you the one? Were you the one? Who synchronized it? Nobody, right? This is the thing about Mucho. We are not about money. We are a couple of friends that went together and tried to do good graphic design. And in a way, it works. So don't listen to the thing of, no, you have to have a structure, it has to be money-wise. No, it has to have fun and do great work. And what we do every 6 months is we meet and exchange all we have learned. So basically, it's an exchanging community. Okay, so it's quite simple to do this. But you have to get rid all of this marketing bullshit that they put you in your head, or it's like business thing, because we don't need that, really. It's just like the clapping. There is a flow, and you will do it together in a wise way. So, last thing, I have here a book. The first one who came out here and can say to me which was the animal that was hidden in the triangles, get the book, our logo book. What animal was it? Come here, you have to come here, run, come. Is there another one? Ooh, there's a fight, there are two coming. Who will be the first one? What animal is it? No. Okay, yeah, perfect. You get it. You can buy it in our webpage, and with that, I will finish. I think I was a little bit late. Sorry about that. And thank you all, guys.
Thank you, guys.